In the past MVs, especially on Social Path, we were shown that Stray Kids could travel the multiverse by dreaming. And for those who doesn't know, Stray Kids reference a lot of MCU films, and in Doctor Strange it was explained that
dreams are windows into the lives of our multiversal selves.
That was his theory.
Which would mean that in Social Path, both variants of Stray Kids saw what was happening in other universes. It caused them to lose control, and because they interacted with each other in the past, it caused their world to get destroyed. In skzflix, only Lino had the scar on his face. It indicates that he traveled to a different universe. You could also see it on the original Jengen, the clones in Scars and Thunders, and Chen, the clone in Freeze. But since there are a lot of versions of SKZ existing, we can't really tell where Lino came from, but in the start, there are people shouting about the crash that happened to him in Bimini. That means we were hinted about their world. In every universe that Stray Kids has, there are 2 parallel worlds in each universe. Means that there will always be an original and clone Stray Kids existing in that universe. That's why in skzflix, we were shown that skzflix is parallel to the mixtape storyline. In the mixtape world, Lino survived the crash, but in exchange, the club disbanded, while in the skzflix world, Lino's soul was brought from mixtape to the skzflix world, where he could continue being an actor. But since there's a version of him who manipulates and destroys other versions of Stray Kids, it took time for Felix to trust him when he woke up. He doesn't know who Felix was. It tells us that his memory was affected by the crash. But he eventually regained everything in the end, and Felix left him to go back to his world. When Felix travels to the multiverse, he would jump in or out of them accidentally because he can't control his powers yet. That happened when a variant of Hyunjin, who was an octopus, chased him down in S-Class. But then he suddenly jumped into a different universe where the pool was full of people. That's why he knows who Lino was. Both of them could travel the multiverse. But since Felix got pushed in the portal in Ordinary, it caused him to unlock his multiversal powers and be lost in the multiverse, jumping worlds to worlds. It affected Lino throughout the Maniac, Decays 143 era because the both of them are linked to each other. He eventually destroyed the barriers and lost his own purpose by his own doing. But then when everything was going down, Felix decided to use that to help a variant of Lino from Mixtape World to regain himself and be better. He gave Lino the opportunity to redeem himself. But in exchange, he would be lost in their existence and they would not remember him. That's why in the view, he's trying to find them. He's dreaming to see what they're doing because even though they can't remember him, the memories that they all have keeps him going. But in the end, Lino remembered who he was, but it was too late. Felix came back to his world, and Lino was left alone with a variant of Felix, who was the owner of the body. And the variant of Felix who owns the body just thinks it was all just a dream. This is an example from Doctor Strange on how things work out between having 2 variants in one body.
Wanda Maximoff, your mind is being held hostage by your alternate self. Grab my hand. Perhaps if I can pull you from under the rubble, the spell will break.
Now it gives us more meaning to the quote.